afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel. I'm your host of The Edge, found on Abundant TV, channel 182 on Charter Communications as well. But Abundant TV, you can find us on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. So thank you again so much for watching. I have a very special guest with me right now. He's everybody's sports guy. This is AP Steadham. Lots of things going on in the sports world right now, AP.
Yes, yes, Donna. Happy New Year to everyone, you and the audience. Yeah, Donna, a lot of things happening. The college football bowl games were played these past couple days, and of course, we had an incident last night in the NFL game where the player was injured and collapsed on the field. The game stopped immediately, and all the players huddled and were praying. And the ambulance came on the field. They had to take him to the hospital and in Cincinnati. So. He's in critical condition, and the only time that's ever happened that I can recall, Don, was way back in 1970. I believe the player was Chuck Hughes. He was a wide receiver, University of Texas, El Paso, played for Detroit, collapsed on the field, had a heart attack, and he passed, actually. So this is only the second time that I can recall that a player having significant injury issues where they had to bring the ambulance and stopped the ball game. But they didn't stop it way back then, but they stopped it last night. There was no way the players and the coaches were going to continue.
Right. I heard another commentator talking about that, and he said, the best place you could ever have an incident like that happen to your health would be in a hospital. The second best is out on the football field, because there are lots of medical folks out there who can help you. So that's some consolation as well.
Exactly right. He had to have immediate care because the lack of oxygen, that's an issue, and resuscitating him and those types of things. The person was exactly correct with those statements.
Absolutely. So we've got some bowl games. So let's talk about those. Some exciting endings.
Oh my gosh, Donna! Yeah, the exciting endings. We saw the semifinals game between Ohio State and Georgia in Atlanta. 1-point game. Ohio State had a chance at the end with a field goal, and they missed the field goal. So Georgia moves on again to the championship game, which will be at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, January 9th on a Monday. So I'll look forward to being at that game. Actually, I'll leave out tomorrow. So, but that was a fabulous ball game between Georgia and Ohio State. It was just so exciting because the teams went back and forth, and Georgia was down by 14 points, came back in the last quarter to win the game. So it was just two powerhouses going, like the two boxers going back and forth on it. One, jabbing the other and knockout blows, but you thought they were out, but they weren't down. They were revitalized and came back, and so that was an unbelievable game. Georgia, Ohio State, and you had the other semifinal, which was earlier. Michigan, the favorite, was against TCU, and TCU took a lead, and they got out in front of them, and Michigan tried to fight back, just like between the Georgia and Ohio State teams, and TCU held on. And Don, it was funny because a lot of people thought that TCU was not a physical team, but when you have a running back that has over 1,300 yards and the quarterback has 400 yards, somebody's blocking up front. So they are a physical football team. It may not look like it from the outside observation, and maybe you have that narrative that's carried on throughout the season. But TCU is a good football team. They showed themselves at the game, the Fiesta Bowl in Arizona. So TCU won that ball game, and they'll be facing Georgia in the championship game next Monday night. But you also had yesterday Purdue and LSU. LSU was all over them, down to 63-7 in the Citrus Bowl. LSU prevailed. In the game that the two teams we're always talking about in Orange, the Orange Bowl, was Tennessee and Clemson. It was a tremendous game. Tennessee ended up winning that game 31-14, and with the substitute quarterback, the reserve quarterback Joe Milton, Tennessee led his team to a victory over Clemson, and it was a great season for them. They ended up with 11 wins. First time they've been in the New Year's Day Bowl since, I guess, 2000. And they won the game and 11 wins. So Tennessee has a bright future with Coach Josh Heupel. That was a big win for the Volunteers. We had that game. We had South Carolina and Notre Dame. Notre Dame edged out the victory 45-38, even though their quarterback had 2 interceptions returned for touchdowns. South Carolina couldn't stop them defensively. So that was kind of a downer for the South Carolina folks. They lost that game in the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville. Ole Miss got beat up by Texas Tech 42-25. Lane Kiffin's team down. It started out 7-0. 7-0 they started out. They had a chance to win the SEC Western Division. They went 1-5 the rest of the season, ended up 8-5. So I don't think the Ole Miss people were too happy. And then Lane Kiffin got about a $2 million raise. So I guess it's good for Lane Kiffin, but it was not good for his football team. And then Arkansas played a thrilling game against Kansas. I think they were ahead 31-13. Or no, they were ahead by 25 points, excuse me. Ended up winning 55-53 in overtime over Kansas. So the SEC prevailed again. Missouri lost to Wake Forest 27-17. We already know Florida got beat up by Oregon State 30-3. Iowa trounced Kentucky 21-0. Kentucky did not score. They had some people opt out. Their quarterback Will Levis, their good, their great running back Chris Rodriguez did play for Kentucky. So I'm just trying to think we cover. Oh, Mississippi State ended up beating Illinois 19-10. That was an emotional game because Mike Leach, their coach, had passed. So that rounds out the SEC. I think they ended up at the moment, I think 6-5 in the bowl season. So they had some good games, and they had some games that they should have won, but they didn't.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Lane Kiffin. It was the big, chatter out there was that he was going to be Auburn's next coach.
Yes.
I'm kind of glad that didn't happen.
I think a lot of people were looking at Lane Kiffin and saying that possibly he's a good play caller, but as a head coach, he has a lot to prove. I think so personally. Yeah, he has a lot to prove. I mean, you're sitting there 7-0. You should end up 8-5.
Yeah, especially with a big raise like that.
Yeah, his agent really leveraged a big raise. I would have told him, look at Lane, we're paying you quite a bit of money right now. If you want to leave, we're going to find somebody because we have plenty of money to offer a good coach to come to your Ole Miss. But they run scared. These athletic directors and presidents and board of trustees, they're running scared. They don't realize that the power they hold with all this money from the SEC. You're going to get a good coach because you have so much money down. You're going to attract a very good coach because you played with one of the perceived as the best conference, SEC, or one of the best conferences. So this idea that if somebody leaves you, you're not going to have a quality coach. I don't follow the logic and the reason. I really don't.
I don't either. And once it seems that a coach loses focus or maybe even loses respect, the players just don't respect him anymore. I mean, what good are you? I mean, I hate to sound that blunt about it, but you got to have respect from the team. And I mean, that's all part of it too.
Yeah, something was lost there when Ole Miss. I mean, I was at the game when they were playing LSU. They were winning 17-3. Ended up losing the game 45-29. So that means it was a 42-3 swing. 3 points for Ole Miss. The rest of the game, 42 points for LSU. And they lost to Alabama when Alabama was not having the best year. And that was at Oxford. Ended up losing a bad game to Arkansas on the road, where at one point the score was 42-6. And we know Arkansas ended up with a mediocre season. And then they lost the Egg Bowl at home to Mississippi State. So I just think that Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, he has a great deal to prove to not only Ole Miss fans, but everybody else in college football. I don't know if he's I wouldn't consider him. I'd consider him an average head coach right now.
Yeah, I think I would too. Now, you've been doing this quite a few years with us. AP Steadham is with us, sports analyst, talk show host, does a lot of different things. So let's talk about the past year. Let's talk about the year 2022. So who was your Cinderella team for the year 2022?
Right. The beginning of the year, I thought that Mississippi State might be a surprise team in the SEC. And I also thought on the national scene it would be USC. USC ended up losing yesterday to Tulane in a fabulous game yesterday, the Cotton Bowl game, Donna. Tulane was down 15 points with about, I think, and they came back to win 46-45. So USC, for the first year, Coach Lincoln Riley had an excellent season, but they lost that Cotton Bowl game. And then Mississippi State ended up winning yesterday in their bowl game against Illinois. So I think those two predictions were fairly accurate, I guess. I thought that Georgia would be the team, to beat in the SEC, and they turned out that was the case. On the national scene, also we thought Ohio State and Michigan would be good. We thought Clemson would be good. Clemson stumbled there. At the end, we thought Tennessee. Don, we've been talking to Tennessee about for 2 years now, and they had a great season. It could have been, they could have been in the playoffs if they beat South Carolina on the road, but South Carolina was up to the task and finished the season strong by beating both Tennessee and Clemson, two of the teams we discussed many times. So I think the season kind of has played out, and the Cinderella team has to be TCU down because they were voted seventh. Think about this: seventh in their league projection, seventh in the league. They end up going undefeated in the league. They lose the championship game to Kansas State, which Alabama beat in the Sugar Bowl 45-20. But here they are playing for the national champion. Donnie, just think, what team was picked seventh in the SEC? I don't even know at this point, but could you imagine the seventh team in the SEC playing for the national championship? That is a true Cinderella, TCU. Mm-hmm. You're playing in a league with Texas and Oklahoma. Oklahoma State, they have a lot more resources than you, and you end up playing in the national championship game. So this year, Donnie, you could definitely say with certainty, Cinderella is still dancing.
I would also I would add a couple more teams in there. Okay, let's fast forward it to this year right now, 2023. Who do you think is going to come out like a gangbuster this year?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit different for the Power 5 teams. Michigan has their quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, so that's an advantage for them. Ohio State will have a new quarterback. Georgia will have a new quarterback. Alabama will have a new quarterback. Clemson will have the same young quarterback that started against Tennessee. Tennessee will have a new quarterback. We'll see what happens there. USC will have the Heisman Trophy winner returning. So that's an advantage for them. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of the other thing. TCU will have a new quarterback. So there's a lot of new quarterbacks down. And when you're undecided at that position, to project them near the top, you really have to watch that quarterback play a game or two to see if he has the talent to lead his team in the tough, tight ball games. So with these new quarterbacks coming on the scene, everything really is, no pun intended, up in the air.
It most certainly is. We saw a lot of surprises last year. We saw Alabama, it really kind of, they did okay, but not like I expected. They kind of lost the little gust of wind there.
Yeah, Donna. Alabama's defense did not play up to their standards, I don't believe, even though they had some very talented individuals on that side of the ball. And then offensively, Bryce Young, he was the same quarterback, very skilled and talented, good leader. But their wide receivers were I would call them average at best. They played well in the bowl game, but there was no pressure in that bowl game, Don, because it wasn't like they were playing for a championship. They were trying to win the Sugar Bowl, which is a nice trophy, but it's not the same as playing for the championship. You have all that pressure. So yeah, Alabama has to do better with their wide receivers, and then they're going to have a new quarterback down. So I don't know what's going to happen to them, and they're not going to have Will Anderson Jr., who was voted the best defensive player, received many of the individual defensive awards. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, they did not live up to their standards. They lost 2 games by 4 points, one by 3, one by 1 point, the last play of the game. So it's not like they have to start completely over again, but we'll have a new quarterback. There will be a battle with 3 or 4 individuals.
You and I have talked a lot about Tennessee the past couple of years. Do you feel like Auburn might be taking that slot right now? I feel a little momentum going there.
Yeah, well, Auburn, the new coach came on board, and he was able to flip, I think, about half a dozen Power 5 recruits to come to Auburn. He's going to have to find himself a quarterback that he deems as someone that can play every down. And Robbie Ashford played quite a bit this year. I think that he's a quarterback that they'll use in the red zone, the 20-yard line. but he's going to have to find a quarterback, probably in the transfer portal in the next couple weeks or after spring ball in May to be the starting quarterback at Auburn. So, he's trying to put in his new system, and so sometimes that takes a while. He'll probably surprise people with a few wins against some teams, but I'm not sure that they're up to the level of Tennessee at this point. Let's say from last year. But Tennessee's a team you have to keep your eye on. If they can get better defensively, they had a good defensive game against Clemson, held them to 14 points in the bowl game. Tennessee can get better on defense because I know offensively Josh Heupel is one of the better coaches on that side of the ball. But there's a lot of coaches like Josh Heupel. Josh Heupel's like Lincoln Riley, USC. They know offense, but they've got to get that defense to play much better if you want to play in the championship games.
I think so too. Let's talk kickers and then let's go into a commercial break. Who was the kicker of the year?
Oh yeah, the kicker of the year. Oh, I know the Michigan's kicker made a big kick against Illinois to keep them undefeated. That was a big game for him. Yeah, the kickers are definitely important. I'm trying to think of. I mean, that's the game that stands out in my mind. That's the game that stands out in my mind. That Illinois-Michigan game. He made that kick.
Okay, let's go ahead and go to commercial.
Yeah.
Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back in just a few seconds. Y'all hang in there, okay?
Get away from it all and get refreshed at our tree house cottages. You'll enjoy the memorable getaway with a beautiful interior, a charming outdoor space, and a prime location atop Miracle Pottery and your DeSoto Falls Trail, Little River Canyon, and Rock City. Our cottages are nestled along the foothills of Lookout Mountain, and the property features unparalleled natural beauty. Upon arrival, you'll immediately be drawn to the wet weather springs cascading under the cottage. Enter the home and you'll find that the breathtaking beauty of the exterior continues inside. Discover the hidden gems of Lookout Mountain from Spencer's Treehouse Cottage, a one-bedroom, one-bathroom vacation rental cottage. Night owls will appreciate the glow of the moon streaming through the windows, while early risers will love the early morning sunshine. Go to miraclepottery.com for more info. You can also call us at 256-635-6863. We're about to make your life just a little bit easier. Join Tony and April at Tony's Pizza and Subs in Center and Cedar Bluff, Alabama. We're cooking up some hot and delicious pizzas, and we'd like to bake one for you. We are home-owned, not a chain, and our pizzas are fresh, homemade with our dough made fresh daily. We have a full menu including fresh, never frozen wings, salad bars, sandwiches, and much more. In Center, we have a private dining area for birthday parties, club meetings, and other events. We'll be waiting for you at 1820 East Bypass and Center, and in Cedar Bluff, 3812 Alabama Highway 9. For your convenience, you can call in your order at our Center location, 256-92 Pizza, or Cedar Bluff, 256-557-8651. And we enjoy making your life easier. Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales look forward to serving you. And you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Fort Payne and Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at TwinCityUsedCars.com or go by the locations in Fort Payne and Gadsden. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, voted Best Mexican Restaurant of the County, Alabama 2020. We're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lemonsmix.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lemons you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lemons Mexican Restaurant.
Good afternoon. We are back. Thank you so much for watching The Edge. We are on actually a couple different television stations, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, which is found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Again, thank you so much for watching channel 182, Charter Communications. Thank you, Mike, for making that happen as well. We're back with everybody's favorite sports guy, and this is AP Steadham. AP, always great to see you.
Hey, my pleasure, Donna. Hey, Donna, we're coming back out of the break. I just wanted to mention two other kicks that come to mind when you talked about kickers. Of course, the Tennessee kicker who beat Alabama with that 48-yard field goal.
I was wondering why you didn't mention that one.
That ended a 14-year drought for Tennessee beating Alabama. So that was huge. And then Will Riker, the Alabama kicker, he beat Texas down there, 1-point game, 20-19. But those are the three kicks that I remember, and there were many more, but those come to mind for me. The Illinois-Michigan game, Alabama-Tennessee, and the Alabama-Texas game, where the kicker made a difference, last play or the closing seconds.
Absolutely. You know, AP, let's talk about your talk show. It's aired right here on this station, and you can find it on Fridays. It's Friday Football at 4. Man, it's a hit.
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Donna. Yes, it's AP and Kelly as we see it, capital S, capital E, capital C. We discuss the Southeastern Conference, all the teams, and we also keep an eye on the national team as well. 4 p.m. on IC Radio every Friday. We're so delighted to be on your network, Donna. We really appreciate it. And we try to have a guest. This week we'll probably try to get somebody involved with the national championship game between Georgia and TCU, Texas Christian University. So because Georgia's in the SEC and they're representing the league, and you have TCU out of the Big 12, and those two teams, they haven't played for a while. I think they've played maybe 3 or 4 times in their history, but we always try to have an interesting guest, and we discuss the teams and their fortunes and their all the great wins and some of the difficult losses and some of the players, and so we try to make it interesting. Kelly Finley is my co-host, and as I always tell everyone, she makes me look and sound good on radio, Donna, like you.
I agree, AP. You sound good on your own, but having the addition of Kelly makes it really a good team.
Yes, thank you very much. So really fortunate and proud to be co-hosting that show with Kelly, and we enjoy ourselves, Donna. I mean, that's the main thing. If you can entertain and inform people and have fun, and every week, Donna, there's something different, because unscripted drama, the game of college football, that's why it's so tremendous, and it's very exciting, and we always have things to discuss.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little basketball. You got me all interested in basketball like never before.
Donna, I mean, the basketball is going to be exciting because Alabama and Auburn in the state of Alabama will have 2 NCAA teams, I believe. They started off fairly well. Had some games, where they won, against some top teams. But it's a long season. They're going to be getting into the SEC play here. They've already started that, so that's happening. We know the SEC is tough. You always have Kentucky and Tennessee and LSU and Ole Miss, Mississippi State, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Texas A&M, Arkansas. So every game is a knockdown, drag out. You're trying to win and qualify, get in the top level of the conference, and play in the SEC tournament at the end of the year, and then make the NCAA tournament, because basketball, Donna, is a tournament sport. You have to make the tournament to be considered successful. I mean, the NCAA tournament, really, primarily the NCAA tournament. And the finals this year, Donna, is in Houston, Texas. Final Four. Last year was in New Orleans. This year, Houston, Texas. But the SEC should be represented in the tournament. There are many good teams, and I can't wait to watch the competition throughout the season.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about the coaches. Who's the coach? Who are we going to be talking at the end of the season?
Yeah, Donna, I think right now Nate Oates is building that program. He's been there, this is his third or fourth year, something like that, but he's got them playing, in the top 25, top 15, top 10. So, Nate Oates is really building that program. We have some new coaches at Florida, South Carolina, Mississippi State. You have the older coaches, Rick Barnes at Tennessee. He knows how to win. Bruce Pearl, we know he can find players and put together a team that's aggressive and plays hard and tough defensively. Georgia, new coach who actually came from Florida. Imagine that, Don. The coach from Florida went to Georgia. That's kind of unusual. That's pretty unusual, right? But that happened, right? Jerry Stackhouse at Vanderbilt, Arkansas's coach. He's a young coach that puts together a good team. A&M, Ole Miss, so LSU's got a new coach. Missouri's playing good basketball right now. So the league is going to be exciting, Don. It's going to be challenging, and I don't know who's going to end up winning. I mean, that's how good the league is. In January, you don't know who's going to win the league. That's fun. That's fun.
Absolutely. I'm not a person who would bet on anything. But if I were a betting person, it would never be a ball game. Never. Of any kind. Because there are too many things that can happen.
Yeah. And in basketball, Donna, you're shooting. It's different every game. You could be off by 10, 15 percentage points, 20 percentage points. One night you could be hitting 60%, the next night 40%. So in basketball, it's much different than the football because there's so many games and your shooting fluctuates so much. So that's why in basketball it's very difficult. Then you're playing on the road. You don't shoot the ball as well a lot of the times. You're playing at home. Sometimes people play better at home in basketball. That's just the case. They're used to the rims, the lighting, the court itself, the background when they're shooting the basketball. So many things take effect when you're trying to put the ball in the basket. And that is the name of the game now, basketball. Put the ball in the basket. All these other things, rebounding, defense. If you can make shots, that eliminates a lot of issues.
Yeah. And home team advantage means a lot because you're in a closed area right there.
Yeah.
And you've got your home. Your folks are there. It's just going to be a better game.
Yeah, it's the close quarters down. You're exactly right. You're tight, and you've got your family sitting close by on the court and court side. And basketball's a little bit. They're football, 100,000 people. You can't hear anybody. Somebody's yelling. You can't hear. You can't hear anything. It's too loud. Basketball, you can look in the crowd and see their face, and they can see you. Football, you have a helmet on, but you can see people in the crowd. Yes, different. Basketball is completely.
I think so. About 45 seconds left in this segment. What do you want to tell the folks before you go?
Oh, we're delighted to have our show, AP and Kelly, as we see it on your network. I see radio 4 p.m. on Fridays, and we love the college football season. We have one more game to go. I'll be out in California, Don. And the next time you speak to me, probably would be from California at the championship game, Georgia versus Texas Christian University at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California for the College Football Playoff National Championship game.
Absolutely. AP, thank you so much for being on the show, and best to you and Kelly for this coming year.
Hey, thank you. Thank you so much, Don. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
You take care, and you take care. We'll see you in just a few minutes with another awesome guest. Bye, AP.
Bye now.